Hey, Jackie. How you doing?
Good, Dario. Good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. It's so good to see you. I miss you.
Good to see you too.
Yeah. I just want to let you know I'm recording this just as we discussed. So I'm recording. It's going to go on social media and stuff. So I want to give you a heads up about that. But before we begin, I just want to say that I and the entire Isle of Manhattan miss you terribly and wish you were here, girl. I need you here. We need your energy here.
Oh my God.
Yeah, really
I
miss
miss it
you.
too. Sometimes it's hard to be away when all these things are going on where
Yeah.
you're home.
I understand that I was away during 9/11. I was on a business trip at the Lowe's in South Beach, and everyone kept telling me, "Go for a swim, enjoy." And I just thought, my people are hurting, man. I can't have fun. I just
Yeah,
kept staying up all night looking for the airports to open and hurry up and book a flight. So I get it. There's this sense of wanting to be with your community and your people, and being far away. So
yeah. Because also with all the stuff you get on the news, the social media,
mhm,
everything's very selected what gets put out
yeah,
there, and of
yeah.
course, they're always showing you the worst.
Exactly. And that's why I have to get better. I've sent you a couple of photos here and there, but I'll make a mental note. I'll send you some more stuff of just live on the ground, real deal shit,
Yeah,
because yeah, I see when I watch the news, sometimes it's a different experience than I had out there on the streets during the day. So
exactly.
yeah, so I get it.
So,
So so the reason why, we've talked about my having these conversations, I just felt that there's a need to have a conversation. And it's interesting because everyone seems to be feeling the same way, which is wonderful. I mean, I
yeah,
think there's a real difference right now in what's going on, in that before it was mostly African American people doing this, but now everyone really sees that we need to take it to the next level and to the next step. So I'm really inspired by that and hopeful. But, I wanted to give a voice to different people across the board. And I especially wanted to have you here because you teach meditation and mindfulness. So, which we need that definitely right now. And I'm going to let you speak about, trauma and all, because I know, you can tell this much more eloquently about what we're in.
well, there's two things. There's one story that I was thinking about this week that I heard on a Tara Brach lecture where she was talking about this. In this case, it was a Sikh American, and he was in a grocery store somewhere like in Wisconsin or someplace. He had his turban on. He was waiting in the grocery store line, and he started to feel uncomfortable
Yeah,
because he's used to being treated differently because of his religion.
right.
And I'm not sure if he was Indian or American or what, but he still was wearing a turban, and that's not something that people typically look at and feel comfortable with because they associate it with Osama bin Laden
Right,
and her.
terrorism, and yeah, so yeah.
So the guy was sitting there in line, and all of a sudden he started to get like uncomfortable, not
Mhm.
for anything that anybody did, just maybe he was just carrying with him other stories, different
Mm,
experiences that he
mm,
had had. And
interesting.
when he got up to the register, the lady at the register, your typical Wisconsin American, white American, said to him, "Do you have a Winn-Dixie card, like for a coupon, when you have a membership?"
Yeah, you get the discounts and all.
He said no. I'm sorry. And so he said no, and then he turned to the guy behind him, who was a kid that was shaved head and totally tattooed and all of that, and asked him if he had a card. And the guy's like, sure. And he pulls out his card,
Mhm.
and he got his $2 discount,
Mhm.
and he walked out of there. And he was like, while I was sitting here in
Yeah.
this uncomfortable situation in my mind,
Mm,
there were all these great people around me, but not only, he also judged the guy behind him because he was fully tattooed, the lady
interesting,
in front
right?
of him because she was a Wisconsin white lady,
Yeah,
and then they all reacted completely different
what he
than
expected.
what he was playing in his
Wow.
mind.
Wow, how powerful is that, right?
Yeah,
You
and
see
I
what we
feel
do.
like with us, like we're addressing this issue of African Americans, and like the more things that I look at from the stories that I've been reading from African Americans, like the stories that they have are horrifying.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
it's horrifying, it's heartbreaking, and it has to change, you
Yeah.
know. And
Yeah.
one of the things
This is
about
great.
the reason why I brought up the story of the turban guy was because how many times have they had the experience that this turban guy has had, where he's been, you know, attacked for being, you know, not just, and I don't know if he was being attacked physically, but people say things, people look at him differently,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, he didn't get there on his own, just having this thought in his head
yeah,
and said, "Oh,
they're looking at
Osama
him
bin
differently.
Laden," and yeah, and made it all up. It's a result of his experiences, as we all have, right?
So all these African Americans have had, you know, I'm sure,
Yeah,
like it's almost would be hard to believe which one has lived in the sheltered environment, has never been
right,
subjected to
right.
a racist remark or a racist attitude.
Hmm.
And it, you
Or
know,
just a gesture. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I was in the park the other day. I do laps sometimes in Stuyvesant Park rather than deal with the lights and cars and all. And there was a white couple walking in front of me in the park, and there were about, I would say, 5 or 6 black guys sitting on the park bench, hanging out, talking, and they were actually talking when I heard them about the curfew was going into effect that night, and they were talking because they were essential workers, so they were trying to figure out how to get on the train, what time, this and that. And this couple in front of me actually turned around and they went in the opposite direction and walked out of the park. And so just stuff like that, for them to be witness to stuff like that, like, you're afraid because of that, like that, just that mentality. Also, even if nothing is said, that they're subjected to that,
right.
just builds and builds and builds and builds, and then it's taken to a higher level, which we saw with the recent events, which is just heartbreaking. But anyway, I'm sorry, I
Yeah,
digress.
so, you know, I guess the story of this guy, like the thing about the mindfulness is where like he walked out of there and he was like slapped with the mind, how he was not being mindful.
Wow.
He was not living in the
Yeah.
moment, in the present. He was
Hmm.
bringing all of his experiences to that line, and he started deciding what other people, he started to feel uncomfortable just from past thoughts, not from what was presently
Wow.
happening to him in
Right.
the moment.
Wow. That's intense. Yeah.
So we have to constantly be doing that now. You know,
Mm.
not us. I mean, white people. Everybody has to do it
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I think that people like there's an innate racism in uh, in communities both ways, and I know we're not talking about how white people are affected, but I guess it's just about being mindful and bringing yourself back in the present moment when you start to paying attention. I guess it's just paying attention to your
Mm.
thoughts and where they're coming from.
Mm-hmm.
Are they really, did the guy in the line do something to you, or are you assuming that he's going to do something because of your past experience? Are you
Right.
really experiencing these things from this present moment, which is really difficult to do because we all have stuff on our backs that we're carrying with us.
Exactly.
So
Exactly. That's
that's
so
where the
true.
mindfulness thing comes in, is
Mm-hmm.
just to like really suss out where you're, when you're, where you're standing, and what happened in that moment that's making you feel this way in that moment,
In
not
that
in
moment.
last year's
Right.
moment.
Don't carry it all with you, which is very hard to do, as you said. Right.
It's almost impossible,
Yeah.
but it's a place where you can ask a question. Why
Ah.
am I
Okay.
doing this? Is it
Okay.
because somebody right now did something to me, or is it because I'm carrying with me something that happened to me from the past? Just
Okay.
to get really present is
Yeah.
basically what these things are asking. Mindfulness is asking for you,
Yeah,
from you.
because I would imagine we need to use tools to get there, because it's not an easy jump to go from being distracted and influenced by previous experiences, and just flip the switch. So I love what you say about that, is to just start using these tools and just
Pay
start doing it.
attention to what you're
Right,
thinking. Pay
right, and
attention
ask
to,
the question. what is
Yes.
happening right now? What am I in right now? Is that fear that I'm having that's building up in me? And there's a thing, when that fear builds up, the body reacts and the brain reacts as if it's actually really happening, right? So
Yeah.
you have to pull that back and control it. I love that. I love that. It's great.
And so much of what we all experience is stuff we've been taught.
Right.
Whether or not your parents were racist or not, it was one of those things that like there's always been, you know, I was born in the 60s, so I came from a family where people just were told who somebody was by their ethnicity.
Mm,
You know,
right.
we're Italian, they're Irish, they're this, they're black, they're Chinese,
Yeah.
like that already is not, they're a man, they're a woman.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
how things got divided up.
Yeah.
That's how things were understood, and it wasn't considered racist. It was just the way people did things.
Mm,
So,
good point.
there's a lot of cleaning up to do.
Yeah.
It's,
But I agree. There's so much cleaning up to do. And I feel that although these conversations have been had in the past, uh, I really feel that this is different. I feel that there's something that's different. The whole world is getting involved now. Every different walk of life. There are people represented. When I was out on the street the other day with that protest going by in my neighborhood, which was extremely peaceful and beautiful, I posted some video on Instagram. It made me cry because there was every walk of life in that group. And this one car pulled up in the middle of 23rd Street, and I thought, oh gosh, what are they doing? And they got out and they opened up the back and they had cases of water, and they just started handing out water to people, and they started handing out masks. And there was no, you're black, you're white, you're young, you're this. It was, everybody was together. And it just, I don't remember seeing that I mean, I was young during the civil rights movement, so I don't have any personal memory, just what was reflected on TV and the adults around me, the conversation that was being had. But, in going back and doing some of my own research, I feel there's a different vibe going on right now. There's a different sense going on right now. And I think that videotape of George Floyd really did it. Unfortunately, he died. But I hope his family takes some solace in the fact that the world is changing as a result of it.
yeah.
But anyway, but back to mindfulness.
Okay, so there's a couple of meditations that I really like for people who are not experienced meditators. That just
Yeah.
and, they don't even have to use it as a meditation. It's more about just trying to relax in the moment.
Okay.
Just, I
Yeah, I
mean,
think that's good.
I definitely, it's not that I don't recommend, I highly recommend meditation. It's changed my life. It's changed so many lives. It's just made the world, it's just my world, my inner world is more peaceful because I do it.
Yeah.
Even though I'm not 100% the most peaceful person all the time, it's,
You're the most peaceful person I know, though, I have to say, really.
listen, there's this book called 10% Happier, and it's
Mm,
all about meditation. And I like to say, I like to, go off of that title because that's what it does. You can become 10% happier, 10% more chill. Like you're not going to change overnight, but these tools are great for stress,
mm,
and especially if you're experiencing a stressful moment.
mm-hmm.
So one of them that I love to do is to take my wrist and then put my three fingers on the thumb side of the wrist, which would be right here,
Okay.
and then feel your pulse. You
Okay.
can, right there, just that little connection,
Mm-hmm.
like for me, is really helpful. And then the idea is to close your eyes and count the pulses, and you can say count 1, 2. What I was taught to say was Satnam, Satnam.
Okay.
That means I
Satnam.
am truth it's in Gurumukhi.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it's okay. I am truth.
I
That's
am
what you can
truth.
say that too.
Okay. Okay.
And in just grabbing your wrist and doing that, you can do it on the bus, you can do it on the subway, you can do it when you're waiting in the doctor's office, you can do it anywhere where you feel you need to reconnect with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And also connect with your physical body, and maybe take a minute to get away from the thinking.
Yeah.
It's you I like to do it with my eyes closed and
Mm-hmm.
just focus on that pulse.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
then just, if you can remember Satnam, remember Satnam. That's one of my very favorite ones. And if you set a little timer on your clock to do it for a couple of minutes, it's one of these things that you do when you are just can't, you're upset, you're nervous, you
Mhm.
just, your mind is just going around in circles.
Right. Right. The one
Um,
thing that I felt with, as soon as I touched it, it's interesting to feel your own kind of life force, your own blood flowing through your
yeah.
veins. That's kind of brings you back to you in a way, right? That was my immediate thing when I felt my own pulse. It's weird that we don't do that automatically all the time, but yeah, this is me. This is my life force. Cool. I like
And just because it's important to catch yourself when you're overthinking things.
that. Mm-hmm.
When you're running from, oh my God, what are we going to do now? Oh my God, how am I going to pay my bills? Oh my God, what's going to become of this? Where's this all? We don't know.
Right.
Like, obviously, this, if anything, the last 3 months have told us that, we really don't know.
We have no
You
clue.
know,
Yeah. Yeah. It's
I
true.
mean, it's funny because there were a couple that, this is a little bit off subject, but I felt like when I left New York now, I'm like, there's no way this is going to just, everybody's going to go into their little houses and stay put and then come out and just go back to work.
Right.
Because
Right.
in that interim of go back to work, there are thousands of people who are not going back to work.
Right.
There are thousands of people just from my little group of people, like who's not getting their stimulus check, and who
Right.
didn't get their unemployment, and who, like, how many months it took for those stimulus checks. The government did not provide us with the comfort of knowing that we were going to be okay,
Right.
taken care of.
Yeah.
And the people who had enough money in their bank accounts, fine. But the people who didn't have been freaking out
Mm-hmm.
for
Mm-hmm.
months now.
Yep.
And
I understand. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
so I could see how there would be some kind of revolution, and how there should be, in this case. And it's come down to Black lives because they're the ones who are experiencing some, this isn't just happen. This has like been years of problems.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
This is,
Definitely. Generations, actually.
yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
just in this year, in this past 6 months, we've seen horrific things.
Yes. Yes.
So
Yeah.
the other one, that it's an interesting technique for meditation that I think, they even teach it to police officers. So if to stay
Oh,
calm,
interesting. Okay.
it's called the square. It's taught all across the board, to children, to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
It's called the square meditation, and basically what
Square.
it is you inhale for 4 seconds,
Mm-hmm.
hold it for 4 seconds. So it's like inhale, let me see if you can see. Inhale up, hold it for 4 seconds, exhale out 4 seconds, and then hold it out for 4 seconds.
So you hold the breath out and just, okay. All right.
For
Let you
just
in.
4 seconds.
Okay.
So if you do it just, and you want to think of it as a square, so you're going
Okay.
up, inhale, across, hold, down, exhale, and then across, hold out.
Okay. You want to do
And
it?
then,
Let's do it.
sure.
I want to do it. Okay. All right.
Wait,
Okay.
I'm gonna get my watch a clock here, because so we can do exactly 4 seconds. Hold on. Oops.
I'm so excited that we're doing this. Thank you so much. I really
Sure,
appreciate it.
my pleasure. Okay, so now start your inhale. Oops. That. Sorry.
Let's start again.
Okay,
Oh,
I'll make it longer so I can just watch the clock. Okay, start inhaling. Now hold. Now exhale. And now hold out. And then inhale again, 4 seconds. You could do 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold out. 1, 2, 3, 4.
wow. Wow. Yeah.
And that's just a great little one for resetting yourself.
Resetting is a good word. That's what I was just thinking because, I could feel inside, I do meditation with you, just so people know. um, and a lot of times I come to the meditation where normally where I hold my stuff is in my stomach. When you say where are you holding stuff in your body, it's in my stomach. But lately, with everything going on, I can't even pinpoint where it is because it's all over my body, and I feel like I'm in a tornado sometimes. So that definitely was a reset. That definitely I could feel where I calmed down, and we only did it for a short time, but it feels like it just kind of takes the intensity out of the turmoil inside that's going on, if that makes sense.
And it gives you an opportunity to not react to a situation or a person.
Mm, mm. Yeah,
Because
we
if
need
somebody
that
says
today.
something really stupid, like instead of back to them, count, your breath in, hold it, count it out, and then see if you still want to say what you were about to say,
Right.
which sometimes you do anyway.
Yeah.
But sometimes it helps you articulate better what you're going to say instead of reacting to some like thing that has really bothered you.
Right. And it's all emotion. It's everything
Yeah,
instead of
and then
emotion. You're bringing the mind into it too.
and
Yeah.
you're not helping like the situation when you're
Right.
continuing like this with somebody.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to stop, or else there's
It's
no,
going to keep going tit for tat. Yeah. Um, and I think that's really important now because I think people's nerves are so fried that it's very easy to jump on any little thing that you feel offended by or, someone says. So I think that that's a good one. Definitely. That's a good point. Cool. Cool. So you have
so
one more for us? Are those the two?
well, another one is to to just sit back and ground yourself in your seat.
Mm-hmm.
Especially I guess this is if your mind is starting to go crazy and
Uh-huh.
just to stop it is to ground yourself more in your body. Oh, I
Okay.
have a great one actually. Like especially for New Yorkers who walk on the street.
Okay.
Sorry, I just didn't.
No, I
So
love it. I love this is you. This is Jackie. I love this.
it's with your fingers.
Okay.
So you go from your thumb to your index finger, thumb to
Okay.
middle finger, thumb to ring finger, and then thumb to pinky.
Hmm.
And you can either count 1, 2, 3, 4. I just, give everybody that option. But the other
Okay.
one is sa, ta, na, ma. You do both fingers, do both hands, keep them on your laps. You know,
Sa
one,
ta
sa, ta,
ta
na,
na
ma.
ma.
It
Okay.
means uh, life, death, death,
Ta.
life, birth, life, death, rebirth. Sorry
Okay.
for
Cool.
the.
No, that's okay. Listen, I'm gonna be.
I was,
I'll put it all down. I'll write it in. Whatever attachment I do, I'll have it.
but there's something when you're touching your own fingers like this, but
Okay.
doing it sitting on your lap, I can't show, but like your hands are like this, but sitting comfortably on your lap and just you're pressing pressure points on your fingers while you're doing this too.
Hmm.
And
Okay.
sa, ta,
So you're
na,
really pressing
ma.
when you're doing it. You're not
Yes,
just touching. You're doing a
yeah.
press. Okay. Good to know.
Well, even the touch is stimulating parts of the nervous system. There's
Okay.
tons of nerves in the fingertips.
Uh-huh.
And it's also a way of just keeping with your inside yourself.
Okay.
It's giving you a couple of things to do, so
Right. Beautiful.
it stops you from, thinking, because you've got too much going on here. You got to do this, you got to repeat
Right.
it.
Right.
So,
Exactly. It
and
takes
it's
you
also
away.
something to do, like you can do with your eyes open, you can do it on the bus, but the nice way to do it is walking.
Oh, I'm gonna do it the next time I walk. Okay.
So when
Yeah,
you
I never thought
walk,
of that.
what happens
Okay.
is I always use this example because I'm a New Yorker and I walk everywhere. And sometimes
Mhm.
I walk down entire blocks and I don't see anything because I'm so busy up here thinking
Yeah.
about either, I'm in a hurry to get there and they're going to be mad at me and blah, 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 there's just so much stuff
Yeah.
going on. And I haven't even seen like the flowers or the beautiful storefront or whatever. I didn't even know
Mhm.
what street I walked on.
Yeah.
When you do
Yeah.
this, you start to see the leaves on the trees. You
Mhm.
see, the gum on the street. You see, you know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Yeah.
Beautiful
Everything.
display. It
Yeah.
just grounds you, and
Okay.
it really is a great one for walking.
Okay. Now, for somebody like me who right now has only one hand because I'm walking with a cane still, it's still okay to do it with one hand too, right?
Yes,
Okay.
I think so.
Okay. All right. Good. Okay. Otherwise, I'll have to stop at each corner and be like, "Stop, no."
Yeah,
That'll invoke some interesting
you'll be
conversations.
like, uh-oh, great,
Sure.
great stuff.
I'll just have the video of this portion of the YouTube and just be like, no, you have to do it. Look, my friend Jackie says. So yeah, these are great. They're really, really good. Thank you. Just doing this right now, I already feel a little bit more comfortable and in my body and a little less. I have to stop doing this one thing. I get up and I look, and everybody says it. Don't look at your phone as soon as you wake up. And I've gotten in the habit of it because I'm feeding into. There's a part of me that continues to feed into what happened last night. Were there any
Right.
riots? Blah, blah, and of course I woke up to some stuff which I don't want to share now because we're on a roll of feeling better. Um, and that's the immediate, like right away, even before I've even made my coffee, I'm already start to get worked up, and then you start to feed into it, and then I just lose myself in the process, even though I know better not to do this. I kind of lose myself. So now having these tools, I'm going to bring it back and just and stop and change, because I don't feel as wound up, I guess would be the right way, right, to say it in a sense. So
Yeah, because it's madness, the phone. It
it
really is.
is. It really is.
You know,
Yeah. It's something I have to
it's a
work on. It's
shame.
unfortunate.
We were talking earlier too about, like, I was thinking of one of the biggest differences between now and the LA riots is we only had the news was our only source of information.
Ah, that's true. That's
And
true.
our, either the television news or your friends who lived in a neighborhood who called you on your landline
Mm,
while you were, do you know what I mean? Like,
right.
and then
Exactly.
you had to go out and see for yourself what happened
Right.
in your neighborhood.
Yeah. And just
Um,
for people who don't know, you were living in LA at that time, right? During the LA riots, you were living there.
yes, right smack in the middle of Hollywood. So
Oh
it was,
shit.
you know, rioting. The looting was going on down the street from me, and LA back
Excuse
then,
me.
it was gun country too, so it was a little bit scary.
Yeah.
But um, this is way more maddening having this phone than it
Yeah, because
is.
it's 24/7. You
Yeah,
just don't turn it off. You can tune in any time of the day. I'm having trouble with sleeping like so many people are right now. So at 4 o'clock in the morning, I can turn on the TV and see what's going on. Um, and a lot of the TV at that time, a couple of news stations are live throughout the night, but a lot of them are just the replay of what you watched the whole friggin' entire day, all day long.
yeah,
So it's just revisit and revisit and revisit, and
yeah,
your blood pressure builds up, and I've done it. I've taken my blood pressure. I have a blood pressure machine here, and I've done it where I'll take it after watching all of that, and definitely elevates. So we have to really be careful. We have to take care of ourselves, in this process. There's a lot of, we're so involved in everything else that's going on, we forget maybe to practice self-care too. And this is a good way to bring us back to that, because once we start doing that, then it affects other things. Maybe eat healthier and try to get better sleep and exercise and take care of ourselves.
Yeah, and the 4-part breath is great for going when you're going to sleep.
Oh, okay.
If you need to.
Okay. I'll try that
Yeah.
tonight. I'm going to try it tonight. I'm putting them all into effect today, actually, mostly on the
Okay.
street. I'm going to go for a walk. I have another call, but later on, I'm going to go for a walk. It's hot as balls here in New York City, I got to tell you. Well, you're in Florida. Oh, sorry, I don't know if I'm supposed to say where you are, but it's just really hot here in New York today and humid. And you know how much I love this weather without, normally if I go to swim, so I don't have that option right now. So I don't know how long I'm going to be out, but while I'm out on the street, I will definitely put these into practice. I'll let you know. I'll get
All
back to
right, cool.
you how it works out. So thank you so much, my dear. I really appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
You're taking the time. You're so generous with your wisdom all the time, and I'm
Good
just
stuff.
how. Oh yeah, no, it's true. It's true. Take it because you are. You're fabulous, and I'm so happy to call you friend. So
Okay.
get your ass back here, please. I miss you
All right.
now. But anyway, miss you. Take care. Be safe. Be healthy. And I love you.
Love you too.
All
All
right.
right.
Ciao, ciao, Bella. Bye
Ciao.
bye.
Bye.